Exercise, exercise. Come on, everybody, do your exercise. Exercise, exercise. Come on, everybody, do your exercise.
Hello, Kvetchers. Welcome to Kvetchfest. I'm Jen,
I'm Debbie.
and today we're going to talk about, you probably guessed it already, exercise and movement and our relationship to it. I know for me, I have a strong connection to movement and not so much exercise, but I'm trying to get better about that for myself. I grew up dancing and I have a dance degree, and I'm really into movement and what that means for you and how you move your body authentically and all of that. But I know that's not the case for a lot of people, and I have ebbed and flowed with it as I've gotten older, my connection with my body and myself. But I think it's really important to have some sort of relationship with movement or exercise because I'm learning that it's very helpful for my mental health. Who knew? Picking up weights or dancing to songs that you like in the kitchen or anything like that really does contribute to my overall mental health and wellness. And also, it just brings me a lot of joy. I love dancing. I know not everybody does. So maybe that means exercise and movement comes a little easier to me. But that's not everyone's experience. Mom, what's your experience with movement or exercise?
I don't want to.
Honestly, same. I'd rather sit on the couch and watch someone exercise
Yes,
than do
I'm a
it.
really good observer. I
Me
love
too.
watching people move. I just don't
Yeah,
want to.
I don't want to either. What is that about though? Because I know it's good for me. I want to do it, and then I really don't want to do it. And then I'm always grappling with, well, I'll get a gym membership. That'll help me go to the gym. I'll get out of my house. And then I'm always worried that I'm actually not going to go to the gym and I wasted my money. Or it's like, well, I have a gym, it's YouTube, and I can just watch any video I want and do a strength video. But there's something about doing it at your house, which I love. I don't have to go anywhere, but it's also really hard to be motivated to do it. And for 3 months, maybe I'll be like really motivated and I'll exercise, 3 to 4 days a week. And then 2 months happens and I don't do any of it. And then 3 months, I'm back at it. The consistency is hard for me. I don't really know how to fix it. Before I got laid off, I was going to Pilates, and that was really fun. It was fun to be in community classes. That really hyped me up, and it made me feel like I was holding accountability for myself when you go, because there's no one to hold you accountable if you're just doing YouTube except for yourself. And I have a hard time with that. I'm a highly motivated individual, but not really when it comes to working out. And especially if I don't feel like doing it. That's the hardest part is, well, then how are you going to do it? You have to do it when you don't feel like doing it. And then that's where you get a lot of the rewards, right? But it's a hurdle. It is a hurdle for me.
It
Yeah.
is. Yes, I don't want to jump hurdles and I don't want to do that. But here's the thing. So
I know. I
here's
will
the
never
thing.
understand track and field.
Oh,
I made
it's
so many
amazing.
excuses to not. I would say I was on my period. I would say I have a headache. I would walk the mile. I would give my high school PE coaches such attitude. It would end up being like a
Really?
30-minute. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't know that about me, did you?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like I said, I have some issues with authority figures. Throw
Oh,
in
that's
being a teenager and you already
yeah.
have an attitude, so it's a win-win for that time,
I guess that's good. Sure. I had a student who had such incredible, he was like a gazelle. He has such, I just saw him recently. He has
Yeah.
such amazing command of his body that
Wow.
he used to run the schoolyard and then he would run around the cement edge that was probably, I don't know, 8 inches off the ground with no care whether he was going to fall, incredibly fluid. None of the other kids could do what he did. He would run up a flight of stairs like it was like he was on air. So I said to him, when you get to middle school, you need to go to track and field. So he did instead. He did, I don't know what they call it. I know it's, you know what it is, but he joined the, I guess, running
Yeah.
and sprinting and that kind of thing. So
Wow.
it's not a track and field complete experience, but I'm hoping when he gets to high school, he'll do it. So I think there's people who are just have a natural, their bodies just can move in such a way that it's very natural for them. And then
Mhm.
there's others of us that struggle a little bit more with that. And I never realized when I was a kid, I was very naive. I didn't realize there were ballet bodies. Now they're changing that a bit.
Sure.
be more
Yeah.
inclusive, but there were ballet bodies and tennis bodies and runners' bodies. That's what we heard. And I was naive. I didn't
Mm.
know that. And I wondered why I didn't have this natural disposition for that. And I think it's largely because when you come from a family who are sedentary, you don't have that natural, you don't see it and you don't do it. Right? I mean, in my
Yeah.
family, they're, Jewish. They don't want to break a sweat, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's like
know.
speed walking or the treadmill, and that's kind of it for us.
Yeah, don't send me letters. I know that's a total stereotype, but that is my experience. So anyway,
Wait, do you think
um,
that you lived a sedentary life when you were raising us?
well, I was running after you guys, but I didn't have an
Yeah.
orchestrated exercise program, and
Yeah.
I did start exercising more because when we bought the treadmill,
Yeah.
when you were 5, 4 or
Yeah.
5, I started to
Hmm.
exercise more, and then I was exercising to all the different tapes.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah.
I've had an on again, off again relationship with exercise.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 55, I ramped it up into crazy.
Yeah.
And I was exercising every single day for 45 minutes or more. I was
Hmm.
on Fitbit challenges where I remember being at home at 10 o'clock at night. And if one of my friends was going to beat me steps, I would run around my
Yeah.
house and
I
beat
remember
them.
that. Yeah.
I went to bed.
Mhm.
And that's when I had lost a whole bunch of weight because I was exercising so incredibly much. But that's because it was just me by myself and I was highly motivated. I would come home from work and immediately exercise. And if I didn't feel like I was going to, I would just take my clothes off in the living room and exercise in my underwear. Because I knew
Yeah.
that if I had to go upstairs and change extra, that was gonna all she wrote. I wouldn't
Yeah. If you
sit
sit
down on
down, you're
anything.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't sit down on anything.
Yeah.
So, and I was trying to keep up that level of exercise, but when you
Yeah.
incorporate another person in your life who
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily exercise and
Yeah.
you want to spend time with them, you start to,
Mold
um,
in a different way.
yeah, and you can't
Hmm.
fit it in. When we would travel, I would try to do it in the hotel room
Yeah.
or we would walk, but it wasn't the level of fitness that I was doing at home.
Yeah.
And so it's been sort of less of a frenetic exercise situation for me. Then I broke my ankle and I was
That's right.
stuck on the couch and for a long while. And my body, I see people I know and I say, how come my body seems to change way more than other people's bodies?
Hmm.
It feels like it to me. So I said, are they
Hmm.
really doing all that much more than I'm doing? Am I
Hmm.
really clueless? Are they eating way, way less than I'm eating? Or I think my
Hmm.
body is very sick to non
Hmm.
activity. If I
Yeah.
ate the same way that I was eating when I exercised, but I
Hmm.
stopped exercising, I think my body would still gain weight. I think
Hmm.
it really needs to have that.
Yeah.
So now that I'm older, I don't want to kill myself like I was before. So now I
Yeah.
do.
Something more
I've always
sustainable.
Right, and I've always done stuff indoor because I really don't like to go to the gym around people that
Yeah.
have to see me doing things stupidly. Although I don't mind if I go now that I'm older and I have this insurance, I can go to like the YMCA for free and some fitness places
Oh,
for free. I can go on the
that's cool.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought about doing that, but in the meantime, I am pretty good at doing stuff at home. But I've also been doing these. Maybe I'm fooling myself, but I've also been doing these exercise snacks
Yeah.
where I will exercise 5 minutes and then do something else, and then a little bit later, another 5 minutes or 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Well,
I
they say that's really good
accumulate.
for you. And I
Yeah.
mean, they were studying cats. Cats get the zoomies, and
Yes.
they say that cats do that, so it's like good for them. It does something for their heart health or for their overall health and wellness. So humans doing that seems like a good idea too. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I do know that because before I get out of bed, I do all the stretching stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to stretch because that's another thing cats do. If
Yeah.
you've ever noticed a cat gets up, the immediate thing they do is stretch, right?
It's so cute. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I do that. And the thing is that I know that it makes me feel good. That's not a
Right.
question. And
Mhm.
I know I feel better after I exercise. But
Yeah.
there are just some times in the day I don't want to. I
I
want
know.
to read a book or do a crossword puzzle or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And for me, in order to get to the point where I was 10 years ago, I can't believe that was 10 years ago already. It would be a concerted effort to be doing it
Yeah.
a lot and consistently. And I
Yeah.
don't know that that's something. I know that my doctor will probably say, well, you should be doing that, but I think I'm getting the amount of activity based on
Yeah.
analysis that I need. It may
Yeah.
not be necessarily, you have to think about what you were saying, not necessarily for weight loss, but for
Right.
strength, for
Strength.
strength
Yeah.
and
And
for
mental
agility.
health. Yeah.
Yeah,
We talk about comparing. Some of my friends are really active people and they have maybe different anxiety than I do, where it's like they have to be busy
right.
doing stuff. And so exercise is really conducive for that type of person where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to go run real quick or I'm going to build hiking into my schedule or walking every day or doing cardio or rock climbing. A lot of my friends are rock climbers. And I will do that stuff, but it's not something that I can stick to. I think I'm a very curious person and my curiosity takes me in a lot of different directions, which is overwhelming most of the time, but also I really like it about myself, but I think it's connects to exercising. It's like, well, sure, I'll try kickboxing and sure I'll do rock climbing but I don't stick to anything. One, because it's expensive to stick to one type of exercise. And you really want to make sure you really like it. And two,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know that I get bored, but I don't know. I like Pilates and I like dancing. So I'll just stick with that. So I'll take, tap dance classes or I'll take a Pilates class once in a while. I have a hard time sticking with something, but also I'm the type of person that would rather just sit on the couch. And even though it makes me feel shitty all day to do that, and I know, and I'll tell myself, oh, just move your body, even for 10 minutes. I won't do it. And it's like, oh, so frustrating because I know I'll feel better if I just move my dang body. you
well,
know?
sometimes we have to give ourselves an out. We're
Yeah.
not perfect individuals. We're just humans.
Yeah.
I get bored too, and that's why I try all different
Yeah.
kinds of things. And yesterday I
Yeah.
did things. It's a part of an app called Walk Fit, and it's a progressive exercise, and you actually do it. And what I like about it is ding at the end of each one. So it's a certain amount of time for each one, and they go back and they
Hmm.
so that you're not doing the same thing over and over again for too long.
Yeah.
You get to do different movements. If you don't like that movement, you could do something else during that time period if you want to. I mean, I used
Yeah.
to be like so religious about things. I had to do it the same way, but then I realized any movement to your body is good for you. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a
Getting your heart rate
one.
up is important.
Yes,
Yeah, and
exactly.
I get
Yeah,
nervous because I work from a desk pretty much, and they're saying that that's equivalent to smoking. And if I
right,
don't move my body, and I'm like, so then I'm panicked about getting steps in or just
right.
moving, and I'm thinking, oh God, I didn't get out today. So I'm trying to do at least 20 minutes of movement a couple times a week, just dedicated like weight training or something. And I
Yeah,
really like. I didn't think I would like lifting weights, but I actually kind of do. It's kind of fun
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's challenging and I think it's good for my brain to do
yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's just when you don't have the disposition, it's really hard to gain traction because I'll walk. I love taking walks. I'll go out and listen to a podcast and take myself for a walk. But I've also lost momentum on if I don't have to go anywhere, then I usually stay home, which is also it's hard for me to leave the house. And I don't know if that's a little bit of leftover agoraphobia from the pandemic or if the pandemic kind of made me a little agoraphobic. I don't think I am, but it's just like when you have OCD and you have all these things and you gotta do all these things to leave the house, then it's just easier to stay home. But it's also, I don't want to live my life like that. But I notice that I have a hard time motivating myself to get out if I'm not meeting a friend or if I'm not having an appointment or something like that, which is why I was like, maybe the gym's a good idea. Because then if I make an appointment with myself to go out to the gym, I will stick to it. But I don't know.
Well, I
Probably
think
not
also
gonna.
you live in an area where it's gloomy, so you don't
Yeah.
always want to go outside when it's gloomy.
Changes your mood a lot here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm able to do the exercise at home and feel really good about it. I also really discovered something. I know people are going to laugh when I say this, but I have the little Alexa Echo Dot that remember you
Hmm.
saw and said, "Why aren't you using this thing?" So now
Yes.
my whole house is wired for it now. It's hysterical, but
I'm glad you're
yeah,
using
yeah.
it.
But I also used this. I thought, oh, I love to dance too,
Yeah.
and I love to just freestyle dance. And so
Yeah.
the other day I was in the kitchen and I thought, let me just ask Alexa to put disco music on. And
Yeah.
so I just danced for 10 minutes or something to disco music. And then I looked at my
Yeah.
Fitbit and it gave me all this activity. I'm like, yes,
Yay!
okay, yay, yay.
We
You
did
know,
it.
so
Gold sticker.
yeah, I think you have to do things that you like to do that maybe
Yes.
are, walking, indoor walking, outdoor walking, dancing. There's no equipment involved and it
Mhm.
doesn't cost a lot of money. I
Mhm.
have weights here. You can do 3 reps really fast and then come back to it
Yeah.
an hour later and do a few more. I think the when I first started exercising, I thought I had to do everything in one clip, but
Yeah.
they're learning now that you can do variations all throughout the day. I really
Absolutely.
like what
Yeah.
Steve Martin said a while back. I know I'm always dropping these names, but because I watched these interviews and I didn't know it was going to be him. And he was in Central Park and they asked him, because, he's genetically lean,
Yeah.
I believe. And he's also very spry. He just
Yeah.
has he's a loose,
Mhm.
flexible kind of guy.
Mhm.
And, or at least he plays it on TV. But anyway, but somebody asked him about his exercise, and he goes, I don't exercise, I do things I like. So he
Yeah.
skates.
Yeah.
He skates in Central Park. He rides a bicycle.
Yeah.
He doesn't call it exercise. He dances.
Mhm.
He does things that he likes to do,
Yeah.
which are exercise, but he doesn't prescribe to
Yeah.
that.
It's moving
And
your
I think,
body.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy way of looking at exercise
I think so
because
too.
you want it to be, yeah, sometimes it's going to be not so fun, but
Mhm.
you want it to be, for the most part. My whole thing is in life is moderation,
Mhm.
satisfaction,
Mhm.
sufficiency, and contentment,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if you can build those things in, then you're good. If it's grueling, nobody wants to do it. That's why people can't stay on prescriptive diets. It's just, there's just too much variety of food around us. We just need to make better choices or
Mhm.
not eat the same way every single day.
Yeah, you gotta eat the rainbow, as they say, right?
Right, right. In fact, I
Yeah.
ran into an older guy, quite older guy. He was almost pushing 90. And we were at a Oneg Shabbat. This was before COVID. And
Mhm.
he was eating cookies. And he made a remark that his wife was not going to be happy with him eating the cookies. But he said, so you eat cookies today, you don't eat them for the next 2 days, right? So
Right.
I thought, well,
Yeah.
that's sensible.
Yeah,
I get
sure.
to enjoy the cookie now. And so you just say to yourself, I enjoyed it Friday night. I won't have it again until Monday,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? So I
Yeah.
think that it's unfortunate as a human being, we just can't be gluttonous hedons.
It is too bad because I could subsist on chocolate and candy and cookies. But I
Yeah,
also really love bread and butter. So those
that
are
sounds like
both.
your grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah, I could take that over probably a lot of sweets, honestly. Nothing
Yeah, because
beats
I
bread and
thought about
butter.
her this morning because I'm not as much of a sweet eater as I was when I was younger. And I
Yeah,
remember her saying, she said, I just like food. She
relate
just liked
to that.
food. She
She
didn't
did.
crave
Yeah.
like desserts, but she
Mhm.
craved food.
Yes, absolutely. Same. I love food. I
Yeah,
want to
I
eat all
like
the
food.
food. Well,
Yeah.
I think also with exercise, I couldn't find there's a lot of people out there that push a certain type of exercise or certain type of movement. And I last year I was doing Explore Movement Project, which was my own YouTube channel because I was missing something in my life where I just wanted to have something in between exercise and movement, just a place where you can kind of check in with your body, take 10 minutes to stretch or move, and kind of guide people through a little movement practice. Because it's either you got to exercise or nothing else. It's like you got to get your heart rate up, you got to sweat, and you got to do it for 30 minutes to an hour a day. And then you got to weight train, and then you got to do cardio, and then make sure oh, it's so much to think about the exercise industry and kind of what they perpetuate and all of that. But I think for me, I just wanted kind of like soft, slow, easy movement. At least you're moving your body. And then in addition to moving your body, do something that gets your heart rate up. And then you call it a day. It doesn't have to be such a hard barrier to entry. But I think so many folks, we're detached from our bodies a lot because there's a lot of different modalities of intellect, right? Or not intellect, but you have, yeah, learning. You have spatial awareness. There's all those different ones. I can't remember. Was that Howard Gardner who came up with those? And I've always been drawn to spatial awareness and movement. And I think we we don't really check in with ourselves about what kind of movement would I like to do? What does feel good? to my body. I don't have to do these things that other, people are doing. I can just find movement that fits for my lifestyle and my world, and then I can start to integrate other things that I might like. But I think there's this barrier that we already have to be a certain fitness or a certain level to gain access to exercise or certain exercises. And I just don't think that's true. I think you can find something that works for you and find a relationship to it. But we're so out of touch sometimes with our own selves. And even me, someone who likes movement and who does breathing exercises and has done yoga and very spiritual kind of exercise practices, we don't really get to navigate sometimes what a movement practice could look like for us, because we think we have to lose a certain amount of calories for it to make it worth it, or be efficient, or so that you're not wasting your time. But I don't think that's true. I think a lot of movement is based on having better mental health versus just gaining or losing weight. I don't think it should be about losing weight. I think it should be about strength and gaining mobility and gaining mental health balance in your life.
Well, I totally agree with you. And I think that finally we've come a long way in the way that we discuss movement with the general public. And I think that if you go on
Yeah.
social media, you can see so many different body types and so many different
Mm-hmm.
ways to exercise. And they're trying to entice people to take little bits and pieces and
Mm-hmm.
take part of your small moments of your day and move your body. You don't even have to get out of bed. Some
Mm-hmm.
they're doing that. When we only look at super fit people doing exercise, it really detracts from other people thinking they can engage in exercise, especially people who are
Mm-hmm.
disabled. And that's not true. We all have the capacity to move our bodies no matter what situation we're in. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to move away from these sort of caricatures of what it means to be this fit
Yeah.
individual, because that's really hard to keep up. I mean, some people do it, and they like that. They like the boot camp combat sort of feeling about
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
But I really think that you can get a lot out of what you were saying, a diversified way of moving your body, a
Mm-hmm.
more nourishing way to do that. And
Yeah.
certainly there's science. We do need to lift our heart rates
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. I think that what I'm happy about now, it's so long in coming, is that, when I was growing up, TV was supposed to be, ironically, I know I interrupted myself, TV was supposed to show a very homogenized type of person,
Yeah.
right? We were supposed to look a certain way
Right.
and be a certain thing. Although when you look at comedies during that time, people didn't look a
Mm-hmm.
certain way or a certain thing. They got to be who they were in that setting. But on
Yeah.
commercials, when we were selling stuff, we needed to
Right.
look a certain way. Or when
Yeah.
we were doing family situation comedies or dramedies, we had women who were doing housework in dresses and heels. And
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
No.
Who the hell does that? So there we had a very unfortunate, for a very long time, up until very recently, where
Mm-hmm.
we started to see a lot more diversity in commercials, a
Yeah.
lot different kinds of people doing a lot of different kinds of things on social media. So that to me is the positive of all that. The
Yeah.
negative of social media, of course, is when we have factions of people telling you that you need to look a certain way, and that's the other
Yeah.
downside. But
Perpetuating
I'm really
certain
focused
stereotypes.
in,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm focused in on the really good commercials. I want to commend the people who make Dove products because they've really, from a very early time, incorporated all kinds of
Yeah.
walks of life. And
Mm-hmm.
because you need to be able to normalize what the actual human population looks like, and
Well,
you
yeah.
also need for people to identify with somebody that looks like them. I
Yeah.
mean, the
It's
idea
like,
that we never did that before
I
is
know.
mind-boggling.
Also, it's like, if you want to sell a product, don't you want to sell it to everybody or just near about everybody? So wouldn't you want to just have a lot of diversity in your product? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
or
but there's
who's
also
showing the product diversity? That's what I meant. But yeah, it's like, come on, that seems smart to me. But anyway.
it is smart, but the other part of that, which is true, is you want to show that the idea is that when you see the person,
You're gonna be the person.
yes, I'm going to
And
put that lip gloss on. I'm going to look just
I'm gonna
like them.
feel like
I'm going to
her,
look
be
like
like
her. I'm going to
them.
feel
Yeah.
like her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's where we went wrong. It's okay to sell a product and say you're going to look just like her, but the just like her could be so many variations of what that looks like. And we need to
Sure.
see. who that her or him or them is, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
that's very freeing. It's also extremely, what's the word I want to use? Terrifying for people who don't want to see the diversity in our
Right.
humanity. So for those who are terrified, just shut TV off. That's all I say. Don't go on social
You
media.
don't deserve to watch TV. No, I'm kidding. That's
Or look in the mirror for God's sakes. You know.
funny.
uh,
I know, because even for like you growing up and me growing up, I mean, I feel like we both got a bad deal with the imagery and people that, because the 90s, it was like very skinny white women with
mhm.
low rise jeans. And that was what was perpetuated for me to see. So, of course, that infiltrated in my mind about what my body should look like and things like that. And then you were growing up, or you had grown up, and then were raising me with the things that you had seen. So it's like we were both trying to grapple with the ways that the external world has like shaped what we think about our bodies, and then in relation to exercise and movement and how we move through the world, even, and what we think we have access to and what we don't think we have access to, and what we think we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And it's just, I wish that we could have had more liberatory media for us to consume. And I think that's why I'm a huge proponent of diverse media and creating content for the masses, because it's so diverse. People as a whole are so diverse and have such different lived experiences. And when we only see one group or one type of that, it's it shows that you can't have access to something, or that you can only do it this way. That's not true. So it takes people to break out of those things, which we're seeing, I think, more today. I mean, there's still a lot that needs to be worked on, but people are breaking out of those molds and saying, yeah, from this angle, I look like this and it's healthy. What are you going to do about it? Shut up. It's like, this
Exactly.
is fine. This is a
Mhm.
body. This is what a body looks like from this angle and this angle and this angle. And yeah, that's natural. What,
Yeah, I mean,
it's like,
you're
yeah.
allowed not to like what you don't like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. You're allowed to
Sure.
affiliate with somebody that you like or don't like. You don't have
Yeah.
to affiliate with them, but you
Yeah.
you can't.
You're not allowed to be fat phobic. Or like, you're
Well,
not allowed
so
to
I was going to
be,
say,
yeah. What were you going to
when I was in junior high, we exercised to a song called "Go You Chicken Fat Go."
say?
Yeah,
What? What?
yeah,
What does that even
oh yeah.
mean?
You can find it online. I don't
I
even
don't
know all
understand
the
that.
words. Go, you chicken fat, go. I remember that part of it. And it was all about exercising and what you should do to get rid of your fat, your chicken fat. Okay. And you would
My jaw's on the
never,
floor right now.
yeah, they would never play that nowadays. So incredibly politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
what we were raised with. Fat, anything that showed a lump or a curve or a bump no
Yeah.
way,
In the
that was
wrong
not something.
places. Yeah.
Right.
Quote
Right.
unquote wrong places. But yeah.
Wrong places. 'Cause yeah. And then Jack LaLanne came on in the 50s, I think it was, and he was exercising, and which is great. It's great to have people come on and tell you to move your body, and that's what it should be. But it's not okay to tell people that, or to assume that just because your body is not a certain way that you're not exercising,
Right, exactly. Did
right?
you ever do Jane Fonda tapes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Were you a fan?
Yes. Yeah, I even did her. I think she did a pregnancy tape as well that I think I did. Oh yeah, I had a leotard and everything.
Oh, really? I
Oh yeah.
remember growing up, you had the step. Do you remember
Oh
this?
yeah. And you know what? I wish I still had that now. I got rid of it, but that was Susan Powder. Her name was,
Oh,
and I had the step, and that thing was amazing. So now they're showing
that was
people
cool.
how to do that routine on your stair steps at home if you have a two-story
Oh,
house,
that's smart.
or you can go outside if you're in a apartment or a condominium. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's all. I think what's nice about today is that they're showing you, other than holding up two soup cans or two water bottles, they're showing you all different ways you can modify your environment
Hmm.
to be successful in an exercise program. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be look like one thing.
Yeah.
And
You
when
don't
we
have to buy this product in order to gain this thing. You can use whatever's around you. Yeah.
right, exactly. Same thing with instruments and kids. You can take pots and
Hmm.
pans out and do all kinds of stuff. But
Right.
the thing is that I think that it's obvious that our country is very narrowly focused.
Yeah.
And for those of us who are not narrowly focused or trying not to be narrowly focused, It's difficult because we get a lot of pushback,
Yes, we
but
do.
I think that confidence is the way that we handle that,
Yeah.
and walking through the world with confidence in ourselves and
Yeah.
walking through the world with a confident narrative.
I think you're right, Mom, because I think for me, and I'll relate to starting a business, it's like until I started going out of my comfort zone, I was starting to gain more confidence. And then you gain it's a practice, right? I think it's not like you just have confidence one day. You do little things that go out of your comfort zone, or you try different things that build up your confidence, and then it's a practice of doing something, of building your own confidence. And I think you're absolutely right. It's an internal navigation and a practice of building those things for ourselves so that we can conquer things we want to conquer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, in terms of exercise, the more confident you feel that you can do it, the
Hmm.
more you'll do it. And
Yeah.
the less you think about how is this changing my body, but how is this making my body feel?
Yes.
There's a
How does it
Yeah. And
feel?
how do I feel
Yeah,
from the inside out as opposed from the
absolutely.
outside in
Yes. And
is
not
super.
caring what people, I just kind of put blinders on if I'm out in public doing something. Okay, I'm just going to go as slow as I need to so I can learn the move or whatever it is and make sure I don't hurt myself. And I think once you learn that, you can just rely on yourself to understand your body and take notes from maybe a professional, but not feeling like you have to do it just like that person because their body is different than yours. Just do it the way that is right so that you don't hurt your body, but that you can do it slowly and then you can gain strength to do it quicker or whatever it is. You don't have to compare yourself to someone else to be having a good experience or getting the benefits of moving your body.
I think that was absolutely correct. And I think that you'll notice, because I do a lot of online exercise stuff with a lot of different people who are leading, you'll notice that even the instructors are saying things like that. They're
Mm-hmm.
saying you can modify this. If you need to stop, just march in place. You start from where you are. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that language because I think they're trying to encourage people. I think they finally got took a while, glunk, 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 that they had to take people where they are and not alienate them,
Yeah.
because obviously they're not going to have viewership if they
Mm-hmm.
alienate people.
Right.
So why we are such a ridiculously ostracizing population of people, I don't know. But the
Yeah.
more you bring people in, the more successful everything becomes. So I think they're noticing that too, and they're encouraging people, no matter where they are in their process,
Yeah.
to do something. I mean, there's some exercise programs that are 1 minute. Just do it for
Right.
1 minute,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Right.
So
Yeah.
because I think small successes build to larger feelings of what I said earlier, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you think you're
Yeah.
going to move this week? Did you already move this, or what have you been doing?
Well, I did all my stretching and everything before we came on together. And then I will do, before I go to bed tonight, I will probably do another, some kind of indoor walking thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah. And then
I
I,
like that.
I do every other day, I do weights.
Mhm.
So I'll probably pick up
Nice.
some, yeah, weights.
Yeah.
I
I've
keep
been doing
them,
like 20-minute workout with weights with some 5
yeah,
pounds. Yeah.
really good. I have the weights near where the TV is. So because I usually blow through commercials, but if I don't, I can do it during commercial, or I can just pick them
Yeah.
up and be watching and doing. The other thing is you have to be intentional. So if you want to hold
Yeah.
your core, and you have to think about that and be present in the exercise moment. But when
Sure.
lifting weights for me, if I'm doing arms and stuff, I know what I'm doing, and I don't have
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
Think too
but
much.
yeah. So
Very
I think
nice.
I'd like to end by saying confidence, and don't make assumptions about people.
Yeah,
You
I think
never know what
yeah.
they're actually doing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
not worry about what people look like, but how people behave.
Mhm. Exactly. And move your body the way that feels good for you. Find something that you like to do. It's good stuff. Moving is good
It is.
stuff.
Use it or lose it. I won't say the other one. Should I say the other one?
What's the other one?
Motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion. You gotta lubricate those bones, those
Yeah,
limbs, those
that's
muscles.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I think that's true. When I do
Yeah.
squats, and I've been doing squats consistently, let's say, it's like, oh, my knees feel so much better. Because I think I have really kind of arthritic knees. And when I do squats, it builds all those thigh muscles, right? And so I'm going to move better. I like that feeling of when I'm working out consistently and I'm gaining strength in my legs. Ooh, climbing
Yeah.
those stairs to my apartment's much easier, or going up hills a little easier, or getting up off the floors a little easier. Yeah, so
I'm
I
there
always
with
have
you.
to think that's why I'm moving, okay, for strength and for mobility.